and welcome to this energy check-in, something like that. I don't really have clarity about what this is about, but I definitely felt the impulse to pull some cards and use my self-made cards too. I know that there's a lot of stuff going on recently. I feel like there's always something going on, you know, that's probably what life is about. And maybe what this is about is figuring out, you know, where to put our attention to, where to put our focus right now. And yeah, it can be something simple as, you know, focus on the mundane stuff, or it doesn't always have to be very deep and, you know, mystic. And there's something I understood today in the morning through some experiences I made where I am at right now and with the people I met. And this is this. You cannot see everything. What does that mean? It means that there is a part of life that is hidden. There are parts of us that are hidden. There are aspects of life that are hidden. And that doesn't mean that we have to figure it all out. And it also appeared to me that I don't show every aspect and every part of me whenever I meet people. There's a certain level of visibility and vulnerability, but there are also parts of me or aspects of me that are hidden for others to see. And what I basically thought is that this is a good thing. Because if we would see everything in the world, if we would see everything in a person right away, if we would see everything that is happening within us, it would be overwhelming, and it would overwhelm us. So I really had a moment of appreciation for things not being visible, for things not being, you know, all out there, not approachable, not, you know, understandable right away. And I also understood that whatever is hidden is not merely meant to be found out. Or, you know, when I think about the feminine aspect of darkness, darkness isn't there so that we can put light on it. Darkness is just darkness. And what is hidden isn't just there or existing because it wants to be explored. What is hidden is just hidden. And the light part, or the conscious aspect, or what is presentable, what we are showing to the outside world, isn't there because the meaning of it is to be seen. It's just what it is. So I figured that it gives me a certain amount of peace, understanding and becoming aware that of whatever is in darkness isn't always meant to stay in darkness, but it's also not existing only for the purpose to be discovered. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, maybe that's what it's about. Maybe it's about, you know, the hidden aspects and what we can learn from what's in darkness, rather than trying to figure it out and trying to understand every little detail. Maybe, you know, it's about making peace with what we don't understand, what we can't figure out, or maybe it's more about understanding that darkness or undiscovered parts of us and this world also have the right to stay that way. And it doesn't require our understanding. You know, darkness exists without our understanding. I don't know even if that makes sense. Darkness exists without our understanding. So does light. or what is revealed. The revealed also exists without our understanding, without our opinion about it. So maybe there's a lesson for you and me about the hidden, the invisible, maybe also the undescribable, something that we cannot easily grasp with our mind. And that can be anything. It can be something you discover within yourself. It can be something that becomes obvious within a person, where you feel like someone has been betraying, or has been shady, or has been covering up something. Well, maybe that's good for you. Maybe that means that if a person is not revealing certain aspects, maybe there's no need for you to get a deeper understanding about it. Maybe this is exactly showing you who that person is. And then it doesn't really matter. This is like I'm speaking to myself. Then it doesn't really matter why the person was shady or hiding something or lying or whatever. But this is like, if you look at it in a wholesome perspective, if you look at it from a bigger picture, it's just a part of what is. And it doesn't require our judgment, nor our opinion. It doesn't require our judgment. Just because something is hidden doesn't mean it's bad. And maybe I don't want to talk about it, so I'm not going to do it. I just had an impulse about this whole thing going on in the world with those Epstein files and whatever. You know, there's this saying, like, whatever is in secret or hidden will come to light. Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's always true, and I don't know if that needs to be true. But it's our desire for understanding and knowing things for reasons of security and safety. That's why we probably search and seek and discover and, you know, go into the rabbit hole of something. And I really would love to understand, or no, understand maybe is the wrong word. I really would like to learn the difference between curiosity, which is more about the exploration itself, and, you know, seeking knowledge or a better understanding of something, which is also not a bad thing to do. I hope you get what I mean. So let's look at the wisdom of the hidden, the wisdom of the darkness. Like darkness, maybe darkness and hidden and secrets want to teach us something. Right now, I just saw that death was beneath, at the end. So maybe there's something for us to learn. We have the Nine of Pentacles. Which is, You know, I don't know why, but when I look at this card, I feel like, you know, she's been building something for herself. And it's covered by the fruit, like the wine, the grapes, and it's not visible to the world. So does that mean she's hiding something? Or does it just mean that she cares about it and that she wants whatever is hidden to the world to be safe, and has the room and the space and the resources to grow in a healthy way? I feel like there's an aspect about when you have an idea, or you have an idea for a project or an idea for something that you want to do, most of the time it's good to not share it right away with others. Because when we are at the beginning of something, when you have a seed and you immediately tell other people about it, it raises expectations, and it might lead to to the depth of a seed before it even has been planted or before it even has started to grow, because things that we build take time. And human beings are not really the most patient species. I don't know how about other species, but human beings mostly want to see the results. We are very result oriented. So what I feel is like learning or appreciating the labor or the work or whatever you have gained access to within yourself and in your surroundings, that it's okay and totally fine to not share it right away with the world, to not let other people eat from you the fruit of your labor before you have, you know, completed, because it's the Nine of Pentacles, before you have completed whatever you've been working on or whatever you're dealing with. It doesn't have to be for everybody right away. But what she does is, what is happening is that the bird is having access to her, which is a very natural way of interaction. And for me, it means like you don't have to hide it in a way that is, you know, I don't like keeping it away purposefully, and more in a way that is creates tension. But on a very natural way, maybe someone discovers you while you are, you know, in your secret space and creating something, is just becoming an observer, being observed and observing the other. And so there is an aspect for me of naturally being discovered or naturally discovering something within the process of what you're building. You don't need to hide it in a way that is, you know, requiring more strength than available. You know, sometimes, you know how it is, you know, creating secrets takes a lot of energy. You know, lying is maybe not as exhausting as keeping the lie uphold, like allowing the lie to become, you know, like a pattern. That takes a lot of energy. And I feel like sometimes we try to hinder life to expose us. There's an aspect of exposure. And exposure can also be a beautiful thing if it happens naturally, without any force or any need to hide something. This is what I'm talking about. If we want others to stay away from whatever we have created or whoever we have become, it becomes a very lonely journey. And I feel like there's a type of journey or discipline, the art of, you know, letting people in while you are doing what you're doing and creating what you're creating. Allowing people to be present and there, and maybe allowing their curiosity to enter your space without building blocks, without building a fortress. Because I feel like there's an aspect of softness and vulnerability when it comes to protecting what you care about. And we probably haven't learned how to care about what we care for, or how to protect what we care for, without building a fortress, but without building walls. And here I really feel the sense of, you know, get away. Just get away, go away, leave me alone. Whatever he is protecting himself from. Defensiveness. You know, I don't know how many defensive mechanisms I carry within, but there are a lot. And I always feel like they actually also keep me from moving on in this process, because wherever we will build walls around our heart, our mind also can become a fortress that actually encapsulates us and keeps us stuck. Whenever we do that, we also close the doors for other things to enter. So it's really important to stay open and to allow naturally be exposed to the world, to life. And life involves people, you know. So the hidden and the dark and the subconscious. I feel like, what if we would look at what's hidden and dark like the Page of Pentacles? How can we gain appreciation for what we don't know without knowing what it is? And that reminds me on, you know, before language and speech, the use of words developed. You know, we didn't know that a tree was a tree. We didn't have words for what we saw. There were no words. And I practiced and tried out sometimes when I'm outside to look at a tree without the identification of the word tree. Just looking at it from a perspective of a child that is seeing this thing for the first time before your parent told you that this is a tree. But just seeing it for what it is. And when we do that, it becomes a very, very beautiful interaction. And it feels like it leads to a relational interaction. You know, we probably discover things about what we see that we haven't seen before. And we also relate to what we see in a different way. Because as soon as I associate the tree to be the tree, I'm separating it from me. Because I also have the identification with the I. And when I look at something that is outside of me, and I just observe it without any labels, what it does, and this is what I've recognized, is basically a feeling of connection. I feel connected. I feel like we are both here. Like, how is this possible? You look so different. I just sat outside at this tree and looked at it, and I felt like this conversation, like, you look so different than me. And you're obviously not moving like me. And your skin is different. But you probably understand me, or don't you? I can touch you, but can you also touch me? Like, you know, there's just this feeling of connection. There is no separation as such. But what keeps us separate from our outside world is our mind and our body, which is fine. But it's more our mind. And having the curiosity and also the appreciation for something that is unknown, just observing it, leads to a huge level of connection, interaction, and actually we learn something from it, like we do now. You know, looking at the unknown, looking at the dark, looking at the manifestation of unknown, where the mind is like, I want to know everything, I want to understand it. Give me all the information, like seeking information, more information, more information. I know how that is because I'm doing it all the time. In human design, I have a first line on the mental space. And this is literally like the investigator, you know, investigating everything into the depths of the seas, but never feeling secure enough to know enough. You know, there's never the security is never really arriving where you feel like I know enough. And we have a lot of pentacles here. It's a lot of earth. Interesting. A lot of earth. I allow that to just stay there. And this is also what is happening. You know, sometimes things pop up and it feels like we missed it and we want to go back to see what it exactly was. But how often do we just let it be? You know, the card flipped and turned back. And normally I would just take this card and feel like I want to know what's behind it because I can't stand the fact that I haven't seen what it was. But the thing is, as soon as we see what it actually was or whatever we feel like we missed out on, we pass on. We just move on. We don't really take something from it most of the time. But yeah. The Knight of Wands. I feel like I want to have another one. Oh, Knight of Wands and the Four of Cups. I don't know why, but the Four of Cups keep appearing when I'm pulling cards. The Knight of Wands and the Four of Cups. They're basically, for me, they're very much going into different directions, you know. And with the Four of Cups, I feel like this could be a state, an uprightness, or a perspective that you could take in. You know, sometimes people offer you things, their emotions, their thoughts, their feelings, their ideas, whatever it is, intuitive impulses, because, okay, this is coming from a cloud, so it's more from a, I feel like this is like basically anybody sharing their cup with you and you are saying no. Sometimes it's good not to know everything. And it's not because you want to be ignorant to certain facts, but it's really supporting life to flourish in a different way when you don't have knowledge about everything. For example, this person is very busy with the Three of Cups. Why would you want to have more information that you already have when you are not able to deal with what's in front of you? And this is what we do in this world. We actually keep feeding ourselves with things that overwhelm our system instead of just dealing with what is in front of us already. And most of the time we just take a cup without, you know, we take more information or more things into our space without even thinking about the fact if this is something I can handle. Do I have the capacity right now to take in more? Or am I actually having enough to do with that? So, you know, I just imagine how this cup just dissolves, you know, and just, you know, is taking back. And imagine this guy jumping up and, you know, running after this cup and being like, wait, I want to know what it is. What is it? What is it? What is it? Just imagine. There is less appreciation if we run after something that we feel we miss out on. Just because we feel like we miss out on. It's not purpose-led. It's not for a good reason. It's more like the mind trying to have more knowledge, more information, even though we don't really need it right now. So I feel like there's also, it's the first time I see the Four of Cups as a very healthy way of dealing with more. And I look at my collage I created, where it says in German, weniger ist mehr. It's like less is more. And sometimes less, I would even say most of the time less is more. Because if we would learn and practice and discipline ourselves to deal with what is, rather than, you know, taking more in and being overwhelmed with everything that is currently there, because we just, it's like not looking at what you're taking in from the unknown, but just taking the cup, you know, like this. But I feel like there is a clear, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want to know. I don't need to know right now. It's not that I don't want to know, but I don't need to know right now. I can live with the fact that this cup is inside, in front of my face, and I don't have to look into it and see what it is. I don't need to know. I love that. And I have to practice that because I mostly feel this way about people. I have a deep urge inside of me that wants to know things. And when I'm having a conversation with someone, I really want to, you know, get to the depths of something. But what I'm learning here is that maybe it's also good to say, you know what? You can keep that to yourself. I don't need to know. If a person shares something with me, I want to practice, or what I'm practicing right now is that you can share whatever you want to share, but I don't have to take it in. I don't have to make that my own cup. This is yours, and you can keep that. And you don't have to share everything with me. I don't have to share everything with you, you know? And that probably leads to more energy. I feel like the more we learn to let the hidden be the hidden, to let the unexposed to be the unexposed. And why am I thinking about the Garden of Eden? Let me just finish what I wanted to say. When we learn to deal with our stuff, our own energy, our own cups, our own wants, everything that is going on in a mental, emotional way, we have more energy to use for whatever we want to do, wherever we want to go, for the passion that we have. We are more driven to follow our intuition, and we are definitely also more connected to our intuition, to our passion, in a healthy way. Because you can imagine, when you take more in than you can handle currently, chaos will be a result. And then you first of all have to deal with the chaos in order to get structure into something that is not your own. So wherever we can say, I'm fine with what I haven't seen, and I'm fine right now. It's not that you probably can't do it later, but for the moment, let the hidden be the hidden. You basically allow energy to rise and lead you on your path forward. So what is it with the Garden of Eden and Eve? Because we were talking about letting the unknown be the unknown. And I was saying, letting the hidden be the hidden without the need to understand it. And I really had this strong feeling with this image of Eve taking the apple, following the snake's impulse to get a taste. And we have the world. This could literally be Eve, who knows? We have the world. And we have, there are a lot of cups, 5 of cups and 8 of cups, similar energy in different states. And between we have the Ace of Wands. So there is a certain clarity. I feel like this is a new understanding of bringing things into sight, or no. I feel like with the 5 of Cups, give me a second. Eve chose something before knowing what would happen to her. She didn't know that when she would take this bite, okay, this is like from a very, biblical perspective. I'm not saying this is the truth. I'm just, just letting it flow right now. She didn't know that this bite would change everything. She didn't know that she would know things. She would know her own vulnerability. She would know about, the understanding of this is me, this is the I, and this is the you. There was no separation. And in the Bible, it says like they weren't separated from God, but through consciousness, they were separated from God. But God kept them from, he actually said, don't do that, blah, 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 blah. This is not what I'm talking about. But I feel like, I hear the word discovery. Where is the discovery happening, actually? The cups are spilled. And what I've never seen is that the color of what was in the cups is different. There's red. Red can be a symbol of blood, which is also life force. Green is the symbol of the heart. It's very the earth, earthly things, material things. So what I see is like life force and something material has been spilled. Well, we don't know if this person actually just kicked the cups and was like, fuck off. You know, we don't know. But we also don't know what's in those cups. Why would we want to know? So where is discovery actually happening? And what I feel like discovery is happening on the journey. The person is leaving behind 8 cups. That's a lot. You know, there has been a journey with all those things happening within the heart space and within the emotional realm, within the intuitive realm, but the person is leaving it behind. So the question for me is it possible for me or for you to leave something behind without getting clarity, without getting all the answers, without understanding it in every level? And this is an invitation for me, especially right now, because that might lead to clarity and a new set of boundaries, to sharpness, focus, ideas, a new way of communication. It might also lead to a new and different paradigm, which means it's the way your mind is built. Because how can we get a new perspective on something if we are still stuck here? It's impossible. And the night also represents what's hidden. It doesn't mean it stays hidden forever. That's what I was talking about. You know, you can look at things in a natural way, with a natural rhythm, when they are visible to you. But how often do we actually do that? That we do it by force because we wanted to know now. And I feel like this can lead to disastrous hurt. I remember people, you know, or whatever, like not people, but also me. Sometimes I wanted to know things and I wanted, you know, became this investigating aspect of me, just rose from the dead and was like, you know, we're going to figure that out. But please be aware, Jen, are you ready to encounter, to deal with what you discover? Are you ready to handle whatever you feel the need to discover? And when you feel like it just doesn't open up, and I don't say, you know, stay disciplined and have perseverance, you know, stick to whatever you're working on. That's not what I'm saying. You know, be diligent in everything you do. But when you get the feeling of there's something I just can't grasp, and this is now me talking to me, maybe it's time just to leave it behind and let it go, because this position keeps you stuck. You need to let it go for now, so that a new perspective, a new set of thoughts and views and maybe even judgment and opinion can rise. Wait a second, that's interesting. I'm using an app that is called Minutier, and that's what I'm doing right now. And it's so cool because it's collecting moments randomly from people all over the world. And I like that. I really like that. So I did that. Yeah. It leads to a new set of understanding, a new way of thinking, new ideas, new perspectives. You can do something else or something new in the old way. It doesn't work. So there is something very, very appreciative about what is hidden and unknown and not seen and not visible. We humans made it our purpose to discover and actually exploit the depths of our earth, Mother Nature, just because we feel the need to know what there is. I wonder sometimes how would this world be if we wouldn't have this urge, or even this strong sense of it's my right to know. We have this thing within us that says, it's my right to know everything. Well, we see in our world how people are suffering beneath the burden of knowing. Because how do you deal with knowing? How do you deal with knowing something when you don't feel the power to change something or do anything about it? It creates lethargy. It creates desperateness, a sense of freeze, helplessness. So please, there is something else that wants to come through. Maybe there's a little lovely invitation. What else we can do instead of, wanting to know everything and making peace basically with the unknown, making peace with darkness, making peace with not figuring it all out for our lifetime. Ooh, the Queen of Wands. I just get this image, okay? Imagine the queen sitting in her throne room. She might not be running around digging and discovering and looking for every information and what is going on in her kingdom. She has people doing that. She has people doing that for her, and they bring the information to her table. It's like if we leave our own authority in our life because we feel we need to know. We leave our throne, we leave our space, we're leaving our boundaries, leaving what is ours and digging into what is others, just to know what's going on. Is that helpful? What it actually does, I don't mean, leave your throne room and, get to know other people or get to know other perspectives. Do that, but not from a place of, I need to know. And use it for your own power. Like use it in order to manipulate, use it in order to overpower something or someone. But there, the cat, this is interesting. The cat, for me, is also an aspect of mysticism. It's an aspect of darkness. She's black. Something unknown, something alchemical, something that is not easily revealed. But she's not running behind the cat. The cat is sitting next to her throne. There is no nervousness, no excitement in a more, stressful way. I don't see cortisol rising in her body. She is ruling her energy. And she's allowing what is hidden to come from within, to be brought to her table, brought to her throne room. She's not running around trying to get information with her wand, actually threatening people or situations in her life in order to have more knowledge or more power. This could be this could be another aspect of the queen if she's not in her energy. When she is out of authority, she would act out of a space of fear. And how often do we do that? Because we're feeling fearful and uncertain. That we leave this throne, take our wand, and actually, behave like this. Don't get close to me. And she can even say, don't get close to me, I'm the queen. I have the power to kill you. I have the power to do some things to you. But I want to know everything about you. Or I want to know everything about this and that. This is something my therapist used to say to me. She has the power and authority to know everything in her kingdom. To get anything she wants. She has the power and authority. But the question is she using it for her own sake, for her own good, for her ego? And my therapist used to say to me last year, I don't know the word, let me check. Wait. tell you. Wait, I miss words sometimes in English. The queen, with her authority and power, has an advantage. And my therapist used to say, you know, when it comes to, for example, emotional intelligence, you have an advantage compared to other people. But become aware when you want to use it. And that means, you know, when I am aware of certain things and I know certain things, I've discovered certain things within myself, and someone is sitting in front of me, not being at the same page or hasn't discovered it all yet, I could use this power of knowing to, you know, look better, seem wiser, or even overpower the person and manipulate. And I feel like what Zen and Tao, like the practice of Zen and the mystics have mastered, is having power without the need to use it. Having authority without the need to threaten others. This is a huge responsibility. And maybe this is what darkness or what is hidden teaches us. You know, we have the skills to uncover, discover, expose, and bring things to light. The question is, if we have it, how do we use it? If we have it, how do we use it? How do we use our power to discover things in darkness, bring things to light, understand everything, you know, stretch our mind, expand our knowledge? That's a long reading. So I'm using my self-created cards. Concern. How, when, why, can I, what? You know, oh, I, like, it probably creates concern. And to be concerned about something, almost worried, to be concerned isn't a bad thing. But the concern that is actually expressed here is this: I'm worried about when and why and what and how. And the mental capacity is, it's like the energy needed for our minds to get this type of answers, these questions answered. It's exhausting. So concern yourself with your own kingdom. Concern yourself with your own darkness. And allow whatever is unknown also to kind of come to you. Learn to appreciate its presence. Learn to appreciate what's not visible, what's not known, what's hidden. Just for the fact that it is hidden. Sit with it. Rule with it. Not against it. Not throwing it out, not trying to cut it off, not, you know, squeezing it out like a towel that is wet. Just imagine she would do that with a cat. That would be torture. But what we don't understand is sometimes when we try to get knowledge about something that is hidden, we are torturing ourselves because we are not able to deal with that. So concern yourselves with your own stuff that is present, so that you have the energy to follow your passion and intuition, and you can use the full drive of energy for whatever you want. These are not many cards, but I'm using them anyway. Death. And we had death beneath the deck at the beginning. So rest in peace. Rest in peace. Let this way of thinking of I need to know, like actually It's like addiction. Cut off the addiction of needing to know everything and put to rest whatever you don't know. And this is really me talking to me. One last card. One last card. Okay. Go to sleep. 101. Rest. Night. Night. Why are we resting at night? I said put to rest whatever you're, wherever you have this urge, this addiction to understanding, knowing everything, put it to rest. Well, rest. Rest happens at night for a reason. And our subconscious is working things out when we are ready. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope you enjoy it. And I hope it gives you a little bit of, clarity.